Oh, shit.
We're back.
Who's back?
We're back.
We're back. Wow, that was a fucking hiatus.
I'm so rested. I'm so relaxed.
You ready to get back into this? What's up, everybody? It's Dave here. I'm here with Jeff, like always. Scattered Chaos Podcast. Thanks for joining us today. Yeah, we've been on a hiatus. Sabbatical hiatus.
Yeah.
Being lazy on my part,
busy
at least.
with other shit.
Busy with other shit. But a lot of good things coming out of the last couple weeks, months, and we're here to catch everybody up. So thank you for re-engaging with us. We're really excited about where this is going to go moving forward. But a lot of the hiatus falls on my shoulders, and in a good way, in a good and bad way,
good, positive way.
In a positive, it's turned out to be positive.
Yes.
But I know we've had a conversation kind of when we first started the podcast about mental health.
Oh yeah.
And how we struggle with it kind of on an everyday basis.
Pretty much.
It's a piece of luggage that we carry around. But this is actually not going to be a Debbie Downer.
Well, yeah.
I guess we could do both.
The beginnings of it are tough.
Yeah.
And what's happened. And now, but the road ahead is good. It's very positive.
For sure. So a little bit of a recap.
Where do we start?
Fuck, man. We'll talk about the topic of today, but we're going to kind of just do a catch up on what's happening with us, what's happening with Scattered Chaos, what's happening with Urban Worldwide, which is the sister company to us.
Yeah.
A lot of fun things, a lot of exciting things, but it couldn't have been done without one. And this is not an order. The names come to my head is Rodrigo, Jeff, Tariq, obviously Terry, who's in my office, my father-in-law, Mike, everybody that's part of the Urban family. I am very blessed to be able to say that they're not just my coworkers, they're not just my employees, but they're way more my family than anything else.
Yeah,
and it came to fruition, not fruition. It came to light the last couple weeks, which is why we're having this podcast and why we decided to jump on this, because I think that a lot of people are going to relate with this.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that it's an important conversation because it's something that I'm learning to deal with every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously, Jeff and I struggle with PTSD. We say every day. It's with us every day, but not every day is a bad day.
Yeah.
Most recently, it kind of hit me like a bowling ball right to my forehead.
Mm-hmm. As it tends to do.
Right. So I guess it's one of those things when somebody says, hey, you're eventually going to hit rock bottom.
Yeah, it hurts when you get there.
You get there. But, it's interesting as I think about it is if that's my rock bottom, I'm in a way better place than a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm very thankful for that. So just a little recap. I know we're kind of we're scattered like always.
Shocking.
So how about let's start with Urban CQ. Let's start with Urban CQ because that's super cool and you're kind of managing that now for me.
Yeah. Well, first thing I got to do is I got to give a shout out to my bro, Sean O'Donnell. Odie, I know you're going to watch this.
That's dope.
So what's up? You ran into Dave. So I'm proud that you're my friend, and I'm proud that you're one of the many people that are watching us because this is why we do it.
Oh, man. That was such a crazy run-in.
Dude, that's so random.
But can we tell the story?
Of course we can.
This shit was hella good. So Rodrigo, both of us went to dinner with our families for Laura's birthday.
Yeah.
And Laura loves this Brazilian restaurant in San Mateo called Asbestos.
Oh, Asbestos,
and it's a Brazilian barbecue place. They use charcoal, which is the only way to go.
Wow.
Which if you go to a lot of places, they use gas just because of cost and safety and all that kind of stuff. But what makes this place really good is the charcoal.
Yeah.
And this is her favorite place. And she made mention to it. So I said, hey, Jenny and I are going to take you for your birthday there. So we enjoy the food. I eat more than I could eat. And
you have to at a Brazilian steakhouse. Right.
But the worst part is, we've talked about this. I get the fucking meat sweats. And I didn't even eat a lot of meat, dude. I'm like that fresh choice kind of guy.
I miss Fresh Choice.
I do too.
That
Sweet
was a great
Tomatoes. Have you ever
place.
been to Sweet Tomatoes?
No.
Okay, Sweet Tomatoes was Southern California version of Fresh Choice.
Oh wow.
The only thing that Fresh Choice lacked that I thought Sweet Tomato did really, really good was their pastas.
Oh yeah. Fresh Choice's pastas.
Yeah, they weren't that good.
They weren't that good.
No. So
yeah.
back to the story.
Ah, yeah, we'll stay on track.
We're sitting
Jesus.
at dinner. We're finishing dinner. We go pay. We're walking out, and Sean walks up to me, who by face I recognized him because he
Right.
was with the sheriff's office.
Right.
But I didn't click it.
Right.
And he was like, "Oh my God, are you Dave with Scattered Chaos podcast?" I'm like, whoa. And like you have Rodrigo, Jenny, and Laura and Priscilla looking at me, and I'm kind of like, it's almost like a starstruck moment.
Right.
So I kind of felt like I was Justin Timberlake after a concert.
Oh, Jesus.
Right? And yeah, Justin, I get it now. It's hard. So he looks at me, he's like, dude, he was like, "Oh my God, I watch your podcast. I love you and Jeff. You guys are so great. Oh, by the way, Jeff is a good buddy of mine." I'm like, thanks for fucking bursting that bubble, Sean. I was on a fucking high. Like, I honestly thought I had hit the jackpot. But no, Sean was really nice. He came up very supportive about not just Scattered Chaos, but Urban Pause.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very much a community guy. He's been around this area for years.
Yeah.
I know you guys go back way. So how do you?
Jesus, Sean and
San
I
Carlos
go back.
time?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was my first field training officer.
Oh shoot.
Yeah,
Okay.
him and another guy, Con Maloney, who that's a whole nother story.
Okay.
They were both great FTOs, but Odie, the one thing that sticks to my mind with Odie is his personality. He's hilarious.
Oh my
the
God.
dude is hilarious.
Yes.
And the fact that he can, I mean, sorry, Sean, you just I got to tell it. He can fold his leg over while he's got his foot on the brake in a patrol car. The only guy I've ever seen be able to do that and be comfortable in a driver's seat.
Dude.
That sticks with me for some reason. Obviously, don't attempt this at home, kids.
Please.
It's
And
done
all
by a
officers don't do
professional.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't do that. It's bad
Yeah.
officer safety. But at the time, I'm like, how the hell do you fold your leg over? He's like, I'm just comfortable this way. You know, that's what sticks with me. But Sean is salt of the earth, dude. I love you, brother. And I know my daughter watches this all the time, and you've been asking for when we're going to get another one going. And I think it's awesome that we're getting out there to people, not for any other reason than whatever we say, which means nothing half the time. Sometimes it resonates with people.
Yeah.
I talked to that officer from back east,
Yeah.
who was involved in an incident very similar to mine.
Okay.
And you know, I mean, we're talking. He was in Ohio, I believe,
Okay.
and he reached out. And he reached out to you, and then you connected me with him. And he and I had like a 40-minute conversation about life and how it goes and how we can relate. And we don't know each other. And he's like, "Hey, man, I appreciate you." I said, "We're in the brotherhood, you know? That's the way it goes." And the message got to him. I was like, "Holy crap." So
it's getting...
Thank you for that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really important that, you know, at the end of the day, the reason we do this podcast is nothing more than just to be able to release our own internal conversations that we have with ourselves and being able to
it's
just let them out.
cathartic,
It's
dude.
very cathartic. And the other thing that I've always known this about you, Jeff, and when I worked for you in Burlingame, you were always the boss who you can go to with anything, right or wrong.
Right.
There's a discussion and then we resolved it, or you gave the advice or whatever it was.
Right.
So, you know, now you're a little over a year with us, a little more than a year now.
Oof. Year and a half.
Year and a half
Jesus.
almost. And like I always said, and I remember we talked.
I know you did.
I always said one day Jeff is going to come back to work with me. I don't know, for me, with me, somewhere we were going to be connected. And I'm thankful. Obviously, meeting Rodrigo was a big part of the change in my life overall. But like for you, it just reminded me what I loved about you. And then now getting to know the family.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Jenny and I love Rock. I mean, she is a queen bee. You could totally tell. And she makes fun of you all the time, which I fucking love.
Well,
we can talk about that later because there's some good stuff that happened this week.
No, there's nothing that happened this week. There are no photos.
Yeah, Jeff has decided a new career.
No.
Now the story's changing.
See, no, that's not how it went.
But the fact is, I sent the pictures to his family.
Yeah.
And everybody showed a lot of love.
Yeah.
Especially for
Lots
those
of
like
love.
those things right there. Yeah, we call those.
Don't talk about my chicken legs.
Yeah, we
dude.
call them ostrich legs around the block here.
You see why I had you tighten the photo up? You see?
great.
It's terrible. I'm glad I can be the fodder.
But
for
going
this.
back to it,
yeah,
I think
but it's
that
a great segue. This is a great segue.
it's perfect
Yeah.
because I think you don't realize how important for any kind of recovery your friends are.
Yeah.
That understand.
I get it.
That don't judge.
Yeah. There's a lot of people out there that don't have the depth,
Yeah.
have never experienced it,
Sure.
and personally, they don't care.
Yeah.
Like they
Because
just don't give a
live-
shit.
They live in their own world. And
Exactly.
You can't foul them for that. Like,
No, but
I mean, we try as humans, or at least I try, is to be a little bit more empathetic.
yeah.
And be able to put myself in somebody else's shoes to help them through whatever.
Yeah.
But I can understand that this could be overwhelming for someone.
This is what I've learned in watching you with your struggles
Sure.
and being close to you now, way
Super
closer
close.
than we have been.
Yeah.
And seeing you day to day. And we can talk about what we're doing business-wise in another podcast, but the businesses that Dave's starting and that I'm helping him with and that Rodrigo and Tariq and everybody helps with, they don't happen if this struggle gets the best of you.
I
Right?
agree.
And what I've learned is if you're by yourself in this, you're done.
100%.
You're done. You'll never get up from rock bottom.
Yep.
Now, maybe some people are resilient enough to do that on their own.
Yeah.
And God bless them if
God
they
bless
are.
them.
But the demons come in the form of alcohol, drugs, sex addictions, other things,
Yep.
and you just get pushed farther and farther down.
Yeah.
But when you have somebody, and we don't toss the word around here, family, just to toss it around.
No.
Because friends, a lot of time will go the other way, like you just said.
Yeah.
When it gets really tough.
Sure.
And when things get really tough is when you realize that you have a tight circle.
Yeah.
And you only have a handful of people that really, truly give a shit about you enough to put you in front of their needs or their wants or their,
Yep.
their problems. So what I've learned from you is like, I've seen you in and out of it
Yeah.
since I've started working closely
Sure,
with you.
sure.
And I know when you're having bad days, and I think many of us do,
Of course.
or had a bad night the night before,
Yep.
because you're very visual.
100%.
Yeah.
You could read it.
As soon as you walk through the door, I'm like, oh boy,
Yeah.
it was a rough one.
Yeah.
But I think when you, and you can tell the story, and I know
Sure.
that's what we're going to talk
Yeah,
about.
for sure.
But it's several weeks ago when we were right in the throes of it,
Yeah.
I was scared and cried a lot
Yeah.
for you because I'd never seen you that way.
Yeah.
And I'll let you articulate it, but as a friend, seeing it from the outside, seeing my friend who I care about deeply to the point where I was scared for your well-being
Yeah.
and what you could do.
Sure.
That was scary as hell.
Yeah.
And we've been through a lot of scary things, but when you see somebody you love and care for in such a debilitating state, I was like, holy shit. And when Rodrigo and I and Tariq, we were all, what are we going to do? All right, let's go. We got to go. Let's
Yeah.
go down. And you can take it from here, but
Yeah.
we barged into your sanctum and we got right next to you in your bed and said, enough's enough and you can't do this.
Yep.
And made you do some stuff that you weren't necessarily up for and
Yeah.
wanted to do.
Yeah.
And one thing I can say is when David was drinking, he's strong as a freaking linebacker because he gets happy, but when he wants to do something and you stand in his way physically, he's strong. I tried to stop him from popping an emergency door with an alarm on it, and he almost got through me.
Yeah. I mean, I guess this is the best segue to kind of what happened.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
let's
so
talk about it, man. This is good.
This is why we're doing it. And first off, I want to say that I am, as of today, 30 days sober.
Boom.
And it was not by the grace of God and my close family / friends who I love dearly that I'm here and I can talk about it and feel that I have like this really clear head. And now I'm not sitting here saying I'm
You're in the middle of it.
I'm in recovery right
Yep.
now, and I will be in recovery probably for the rest of my life.
Yes, sir.
So I'll talk a little bit about the history because I think that's important for some people. And, I brought Jeff on the podcast, which I could have done by myself, but it was really important for me to have somebody who could acknowledge the stuff I'm going through, but also, be there for me as a support, because I think that's one of the things that a lot of people who go through any kind of abuse, whether it be alcohol or drugs, they sometimes feel alone.
For sure.
And we've talked about Meredith, who is my hypnotherapist, which I'm going to bring her up quite a bit this podcast because she's seriously phenomenal. So my drinking is interesting because I didn't have my first sip of alcohol till I was 21.
On your 21st birthday?
On my 21st birthday.
Really?
Yeah. So during
nothing.
nothing.
Come on, dude. You went to Cappuccino. You never had a sip of nothing?
Nothing. Not even.
God, that's amazing.
Nope. Even prom. I remember, 1998 prom. We were on a boat. We went back to Embassy Suites in Burlingame, and everybody was taking shots of Goldschlager. I remember I was dating a girl back then. Her name's Adrienne. She was drinking with the guys and the girls, and everybody was drinking. And Rich, who's still, I consider him a brother of mine. We don't see each other as often. We do talk, but there was Michelle, John Reed, all these people that I grew up with. That they were all partying. We had a great time. It was fucking dope. But I was the stoner. Like I was the pothead. So like I remember a party, and sorry, John.
Sorry, dude. I would love to see that.
Dude, we had a party at John's parents' house one night, and he smoked with me for the first time, and he got so stoned he was rocking back and forth in the chair, and everybody's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't smoke with Dave because he gets his weed from his brother. His brother was like, my brother still to this day is probably one of the best potheads I know. I mean, he's great.
He's got the red veins in it.
Dude, he knows the good stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I didn't drink until my 21st birthday. And my 21st birthday was, obviously you guys know, my dad had a limo company at the time.
Oh, shit.
And
Here
so,
we go. My dad, can I get a ride?
Yeah, so we basically asked my dad for a limousine to take us to Dave & Buster's when there was only in Milpitas at the Great Mall.
Oh, wow.
I'm aging myself.
Yeah, you are,
That's
dude.
23 years later, we have one in Daly City. But so I don't remember who was with us, but I do for sure remember that Pauline was there with us, who is one of my greatest friends from high school. Her family, Greek family, that I was super close with. I spent a lot of time with them. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna get shit faced. Who cares?
You have to on your 21st, dude.
So my buddy Mansour lived around literally kitty corner from where we lived up in Roland.
If any of you are out there from Dave's senior year or 21st birthday party or anything like that, you better hit us up at Scattered Chaos Podcast.
And we
need to know the stories, the true dope on him.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is, after this is posted, I'm going to put it on my social media because I want people to, it's nice to hear like the old stories, right?
For sure,
I'm not
dude.
ashamed of what I did.
No, it's when we were kids.
I'm trying to remember, there was another person that lived like kind of kitty corner to me, but like 2 houses down. And I was so drunk, I got out of the limo in front of my own house. But be it that I was literally my door, limo door, like straightforward.
You shouldn't have missed it.
Oh, I missed it by 4 houses and across the street.
Oh my God.
Knocking on the door.
Mom!
Dad, somebody locked the door. The key's not working. The guy, I don't remember who came out. They knew me, and they were like, Dave, your house is that way.
Sorry.
I was like, well, if I remember correctly, the house we lived in was in a corner. The backyard had a spa, a jacuzzi out, over the, and I opened the gate and walk in, and I can't get through my sliding door, which is a sliding door to my bedroom.
Okay.
So I'm knocking on the window, and then finally my dad opens the door.
Oh, boy.
If anybody knows my dad, Ellie, he was, not the happiest camper when he got woken up. And, I don't know about your parents, but my dad slept with tidy whities. And, my dad had a good belly.
Oh, my God, dude.
He walked
May he rest in peace.
Yeah, I love you, Dad. Every story I tell is it's a funny one. But he opens up, and he's just fucking yelling at me in Hebrew. And you know what? Listen, I probably understood every other word, maybe every 3 words, but I was so drunk that I looked at him and be like, yeah, I need to go throw up. And so I go running in, and my mom's coming out of the bedroom. And my mom, if anybody knows her, she's like 4'11" on a good day. And she looks at me, she's like, "You're drunk." I'm like, yes. Go into the bathroom, lock the door, and I just threw up.
You're drunk. Yeah, but I'm not stoned, Mom.
Yeah. And that's the funny thing. The next morning, the conversation was like, like, you don't ever get sick when you smoke. I'm like, Mom, I didn't smoke.
Oh, they knew you smoked.
Oh, yeah. I have a really good story. So
This is therapy, baby.
I want to say it was my 17th or 18th birthday. I'm not really sure. My brother was visiting. My sister still lived at home with us. And we were in the same home. And so, again, the backyard had a jacuzzi. Everybody was jumping in and out of the jacuzzi. Everybody's having a great time. My dad was barbecuing. We were all having a blast. Well, I didn't drink. And like, my parents were not one of those parents that allowed anybody to drink at their house. It's just very old school, Middle Eastern.
Right.
So I go around the corner of our lot to the behind the fence, thinking I was fucking smart, right? Me and John.
They're not gonna smell that,
dude. It was me, Dan Westlow, and John Giroso. It was actually my 18th birthday, maybe 19th, because that's when I broke up with that girlfriend.
Okay.
Or she broke up with me. Actually, long story. It's hurtful.
We all have those stories.
I'm just joking. So we're sitting there taking like the biggest fucking rips off this joint, and like, you're thinking you're cool. You're like, well, unbeknownst to us,
there's a dead skunk.
There's like this cloud above us, like a black cloud. It's raining only on us, right? And I hear my dad. My dad's like, "Is there a skunk in the backyard?" And then he comes out and sees the smoke, and he's like, "David!" I'm like, I remember looking at John and Dan and John's eyes got like really big, and they like walked off because they could.
Yeah, they're gone. See ya.
I come back around the corner, and my eyes are bloodshot red already, and my dad's like, "Inside." I'm like, "We're fucked." He goes and goes, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I'm just smoking." He's like, "Okay," but my dad didn't really so much care, but the fact that we had other kids there that were not his, there's a responsibility thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, my parents knew for the most part. They didn't know how much I smoked.
Okay.
But I honestly, I wasn't an everyday smoker.
Right.
I was weekend. It was kind of
So your 21st birthday, you get housed.
I get housed.
You pass out after you yak your guts out.
And I basically did not drink.
After that?
I dabbled here and there, beer, Coors Light was my thing at the time.
It's not really beer.
No, it's
water.
It's
with
yellow
bubbles
water
in it. Yeah.
with carbonation.
Sorry, of course.
But I love the Blue Mountains, so hey, listen, I like a cold beer. And so then I became an officer in Broadmoor or reserve, and that was the time I got to know Mike Blundell and was starting to figure out, okay, I need to lose weight if I'm going to fucking be a cop.
Right.
So drinking kind of was put on the back burner. Started watching what I was doing, not drinking as much, and really didn't drink at all. Maybe like here and there, because even back in the days when you were growing up in the industry,
in the
Stone Ages, when you had to push the police car around with your feet,
bare feet.
One of the things, one of the things that was pretty common was like your graveyard team would get off, go into the parking lot or outside the parking lot because depending on where you're stationed, and have a few brews and just
choir practice,
choir practice, and then you go home. Never was that guy. I just didn't. Drinking was not important.
Right.
I don't think drinking ever became important or not important, a significant part of my life until probably 2017, 2018, when I got diagnosed with PTSD.
Okay.
So throughout my law enforcement, I never smoked, never had edibles. Edibles weren't known then.
Right.
I didn't smoke, obviously, because I was a police officer.
Right.
I always said that if it was legal to smoke, I would smoke and not ever have a drink again.
Okay.
Because I always felt way more in control with marijuana than I could do with alcohol.
Right.
Because there came a point where, you go out, you're having margaritas, and it becomes 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, and then you're having a long night, and 3 a.m. you're getting home, and like we're not drunk, but just enough to say, okay, that's not
not
right?
good, not smart,
not smart.
Yeah.
And so 2017, we had COVID. What?
19 and 20, right?
So 2018, Jenny and I decide to work on our marriage because we're just, we're still young in the marriage and we're still trying to figure out each other. I'm very headstrong.
No.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
Wait, do we have like an alert we could put on, like ding, 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 like an ESPN,
right?
Breaking news?
Yeah. And so,
Da-na-na, da-na-na.
yes, oh my God, that's so true. And so we decided to go. And then, like I've told you guys before, I got diagnosed with PTSD with that therapist who, to this day, one of my favorite.
Yeah.
She was amazing for Jenny and I. And that's when I started drinking.
So you started drinking. Why? Were you upset, uptight, or scared of the PTSD diagnosis? Did it push you that way?
So as I've said before in another podcast with you, is that like I walked out of that therapy like I had it written on my forehead.
Right.
And so it took it took me down a road of not knowing what was going to happen.
Okay.
Not knowing
very true.
how I'm going to explain this. Jenny didn't have an understanding.
Right.
Then we had to go and talk to the family and talk to what's going to happen. What does this mean? And I will say that none of my family, none of Jenny's family, were ever negative towards it.
Right.
There was just a lot of questions, but then there was a lot of questions, but there was definitely a lot of answers right off the bat because they realized that I was
showing before you knew.
right. And when they got the diagnosis, I remember Laura saying she never understood how I could talk about situations and like it basically be like it's nothing.
Right.
And then it came to that point, right? And so I remember that was kind of the point of me drinking. Like,
okay.
And it wasn't heavy. I wasn't.
What was causing it though? Were you embarrassed?
I was embarrassed. I was scared.
Yeah.
Definitely scared because,
We're cops.
we're cops. I wasn't a cop anymore. I realized that I probably could never be a cop again, which in
That's
itself
hard.
was hard.
Yeah.
And then the other part of it is that my family, we've all had some form of depression or anxiety. And it runs in my family. And now as I'm older and I've gotten to kind of see, 35,000 feet above
Right.
everything in the past, now I could see like, that
Yeah.
explains.
Right.
And so I think part of that was like, for a long time, I was like, I'm not like them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm built differently.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was kind of like that, right in the balls, like, no,
Oh my
you're
gosh,
exactly
You're exactly like them.
You're exactly like them. You just knew how to cover it up really well.
Mm.
And so 2018 came around and the business was going so well. And so we wouldn't drink at home. We would drink on the weekends, but we would drink.
Yeah.
And I didn't get into really hard liquor until probably 2020. When COVID was really
But there's backstory in addition to the family is you're running a successful business
yeah.
and boom, the carpet gets pulled out from
Sure.
so many people, including you.
Yeah.
Here comes that other bowling ball hitting you in the nuts that you weren't expecting
No.
ever. Nobody was expecting
Nobody
it.
was.
But you're still trying to come to grips. And I know what this feels like because
Yeah.
I was the same way. You're coming to grips with, okay, I got PTSD. Explains a lot of how I behave.
Sure.
People don't know,
Right.
but they're learning.
Yeah.
But shit, I'm embarrassed. This is not me. I
Yep.
don't want to show people this. So here I am. I'm going to medicate.
Yeah.
This is my form of it.
And I
And then you get slapped again.
let's take a few steps back. Yes, you're 100% right.
I know I jump ahead.
No,
Sorry.
no, it's okay. But I think it's important in part of recovering as I'm reading the book or listening to the AA book is acknowledging things I did.
Bless it. I love it.
Yeah.
Good for you, dude.
The acknowledgement of things I did.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's part of this. And I'm not trying to make this podcast about
No,
me.
this
What I'm
is
trying to make
important stuff.
Right. And I think it's important that we have these conversations as adults,
Yeah.
one, but as men.
Yes.
Okay. So I made some very poor decisions from 2019, actually 2018, when I started really drinking for about 3 years.
Okay.
And that had to do with my marital
Oh, okay.
situation.
Got it.
Thank you to Jenny for sticking by my side after everything was revealed.
For sure.
But I made some really poor decisions. There's a few reasons why I did it. One, I desired a level of support that was unrealistic,
Okay.
okay, from Jenny.
Okay.
Jenny was going through her own stuff,
Yeah.
so she couldn't give that to me. I turned to people that I felt were good people, and it became something more than that.
Okay.
I don't blame them at all. It's not their fault. It's my 100% fault for what I did.
Right.
And there's a handful of people, or less than a handful of people, that are involved in this situation. And I will always be that asshole.
Okay.
Okay. And I will own up to it.
Okay.
Because I dragged them through the mud with me.
Right.
Because I didn't want to do it alone.
Okay.
Okay. And that's kind of when I started drinking heavy.
To
cover up.
Just to kind of make it feel okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was periods of time where I knew it was wrong, but alcohol was that like, okay, well, I'll think about it tomorrow. And it progressively got worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then it got better, and then it got worse. And then it got better, and then it got worse. And then, as I've said multiple times in this podcast, thank God I got caught.
Yeah, sometimes that's what it takes.
And when people talk about success and status and money, you don't realize how much that could change you.
Yeah.
And it changed me in a lot of ways for the worse.
Mm.
And it's not, I could say that now because I look back and I'm like, man.
Well, you're looking back with clear eyes.
Clear eyes. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, dude.
And I remember it was like December 12th or 13th. I was at Amazon. Rodrigo was with me. Mike was with me. And my life like literally blew up in my face. I got the phone call that any cheating husband would never want.
Mm.
You got caught, motherfucker.
Mm.
Explain yourself. Jenny. Explain yourself. And it was really easy for me to cover myself up, do all the lies, to just get myself out of that situation because I was so good at lying. Or I thought it was.
You thought you were, yeah.
I mean, the alcohol made me a lot better than I really was.
You thought it did.
Thought it did. And I took advantage of people. I took advantage of Jenny 100%. Took advantage of my in-laws. I took advantage of even my own family to get me through this darkness that is not explainable to anybody. Because nobody understands, like, to this day, there's never a good explanation of why I did what I did. But the darkness that I was living, that stuff was bringing light because it made me forget about the darkness. Mm. Not because it was really bringing me real light, right? Mm-hmm. It was just me able to look at this darkness here and like look this way and say, okay, there's something here. And anybody that knows me, I've been with, and I will freely say this, I've been with 5 total people in my life. And never until this period was there not somebody that I actually had really good feelings for. Mm. Like they're real relationships that turn into big things. Like, and they didn't work. Some of them didn't work, but I had feelings and I cared and it was, but these others were just a way for me to escape my demons.
Right.
And I am guilty as charged. I'm sorry for what I did to them. I will forever be indebted to that and to the pain that I put them through and their families through, whoever was involved. But as therapy has taught me is that I can't keep holding that and carrying that with me. I have to say, okay, that was my past. I am 100% responsible for it, but it's my past.
Yeah.
And so obviously when I got caught, it was a big blow up. I mean, obviously I was living at the office for a couple weeks and then, you know, we had a conversation and we moved in together, Jenny and I, after having some really deep conversations. I realized how much she was worth even after I heard her. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that kind of was like okay, I need to really slow my drinking down. Mm-hmm. Right? Because the drinking, I was heavy drinking during those 2-3 years because it was my way of escaping what the truth was.
Yep.
That I was cheating on my wife.
Yep.
And so I ended up not drinking so much. Things slowed down. And then I think that it just, life was not perfect. And because I wasn't drinking,
You wanted it to be perfect, and maybe the alcohol would make it perfect?
yeah. And so I started dipping my toe back into drinking. And from 2021 to 2024, I would say that I was probably drinking every other day.
Yeah.
Maybe not always. Sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah. But I mean,
Enough.
Enough. And for those that know me, I drink tequila. And
Yes, you did.
tequila only. I don't drink anything else.
You did.
And I could drink a lot before it really hits me. But when it hits me like a bowling ball. And I said things to people that didn't deserve to be talked to or treated a certain way, even though, even in my sober mind, I probably would have done things differently in how I approach the situation. I still have had the situation,
Right,
because of the negative that came towards me, but my reaction was so off keel because I was drunk,
right.
because alcohol.
Yeah.
And it spiraled, right? And then comes the work-related stuff.
Yeah.
You know, there's always, as you grow, there's more exposure.
Right. And
Right.
that's a whole different
That's
conversation.
enough, right? And so, about a year and a half ago, or kind of right when you started, things started to kind of blow up.
Shit, am I bad luck?
No, I mean, it was not. No. But things started to happen.
It seemed it
Legally,
yes,
towards the companies, which caused me even more stress.
for sure.
And so the drinking was part of that. I didn't want to deal with it. And then the situation with my own family happened. And,
Right.
And that was kind of like that. Push the button. All else fails, just drink.
Right.
And so.
But let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
It never went away, did it? The stuff, the problems.
No, and that's part of this conversation, right?
Yeah.
Like I think, you know, when you're in the mix and you're drinking heavy, you're thinking that, oh, it allows me not to think about things. It allows me to just kind of shut off.
Right.
As all of you guys know, my brain works at 110 miles an hour, 110% all the time. Alcohol was the only thing that would, one, slow me down and put me to sleep.
Yeah.
Because my brain would not shut off. Or I thought my brain couldn't shut off.
Yeah.
And so about 5 weeks ago, and now we're fast forward, drinking pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Days good, some days good, not good. Bailing on Jeff and Jesse on workouts, saying I'm too tired and not wanting to like really talk about what,
Why? Yeah.
Even though I know Jeff and Jesse knew, because Rodrigo knew, I think it was pretty obvious. But I believe it was that Friday, right? Before kind of everything happened. You came, I was at dinner with Jenny. No, it was a Saturday, I think. Jenny and I were at a restaurant in San Mateo, and I wasn't actually drinking until kind of after we ate. And I am not blaming anybody, but I didn't drink like I normally drink to get to where I was that Tariq saw me.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether I was drinking so fast that I don't remember, or the fact that something else happened. And I'm not saying that I got drugged or anything like that, but I definitely was not my normal self when I drink. And got to a point that I ended up falling asleep at the table, and they couldn't wake me up. And obviously they called 911. San Mateo Fire came out. Fortunately for me, Mike Blundell's cousin, Lance Ledikin, was on the fire rig that day, was a paramedic on duty, or EMT. I'm sorry if I'm calling it wrong. And he talked to me like I was a human being. Didn't judge the fact that I was, and I told him straight up, like, I don't know what happened. Like, I'm fine.
Right.
I was definitely, something was off.
Yeah.
And then Tariq was so kind enough to come pick us up. And Tariq even said, like, I've never seen you like this. This is not you. And we got home, and then I think just that negative vibe continued, right? Like, I was feeling a certain way. And then, Sunday I was at home. We were watching sports, drank more. Monday, feeling sorry for myself for drinking all weekend. So I drank more. And then I ended up, I would say I blacked out. The only thing I do remember is that Rodrigo and Jeff came over. I was on the couch, I think I was. If I'm not, I sound like Yoda. On the couch, I think I was. What the fuck? I just realized I was on the couch.
You were part of that couch.
Yes, I was definitely embedded.
Snuggled.
I was snuggled in that couch. And there was a Jenny called Jeff, I think, or called Rodrigo, said something's up with Dave. And they were kind enough to, initially Jenny was going to call 911, but we ended up just getting a ride to emergency room, where, I got the support I needed. I got the IV in the system, came to the realization that I hadn't taken my medication for 4 days.
Right.
And kind of had an aha moment that medication is more important than I thought it was. But we sat at the doctor's room, and the doctor is like, and let me go back a little bit, actually, because this is interesting. So 2 weeks prior, I hosted my Vistage group here.
Right.
On Friday. And there was a girl there, and I apologize, I don't remember her name. She was visiting the group to see if she was going to be part of the group or not. And I was hosting, so I was telling everybody about my history, and I'm very open about everything.
Right.
And she told me about a psychologist, Dr. Mike, and I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name, but he's down in LA. He's a psychologist. And I had spoken with Dr. Mike for about 2 weeks, and he had basically provided me with Altabuse, which is another form of naltrexone, which basically curbs the appetite. But the difference between naltrexone and Altabuse is naltrexone will help curb but if you drink, it's not going to really do anything.
Right.
You may have a little bit of a hangover the next morning.
Oh, this is the appetite for alcohol.
Alcohol.
Okay.
Going back to alcohol. So.
Got it.
And then, but Dr. Mike prescribed me Altabuse, which basically he told me, if you take it and you drink, you're going to be like godly sick. But see, here's the thing. Like, I was not ready to quit drinking, so I never took it. And so after my little stint at in Burlingame Hospital,
right,
or Peninsula, sorry.
Yeah.
I realized that, like, man, like, this is my rock bottom. Like, me being taken by my brothers and my friends to the hospital because I was drinking too much is my rock bottom. That's how I looked at my rock bottom. Yeah. And I always said, if I ever go to the hospital because of drinking, that's my rock bottom.
Yeah.
Obviously, I never thought I would put myself in a position where I would get arrested or anything. So that never crossed my mind.
Right.
Which, by the way, I've never gotten arrested, so don't worry. So the next morning I woke up and I remember that the Dr. Mike gave me this medicine. So I said to Jenny, Jenny, I am going to hibernate for the next 3 days because I need to be completely sober for 3 days. And I remember coming to work out on Wednesday, still not 100%,
right?
Pretty nauseous. They gave me medicine for that. Thursday came around, and then Friday was the first day I took the medication. And it was that day that I realized that, like, my life needs to change.
Yeah.
And this has to be a lifestyle change.
And that was 30 days ago.
It's 33 days ago.
33 days ago.
Yeah, 30 days. No, yeah. It's kind of weird because I do it by weeks. It's easier by weeks. Okay. So basically I'm 4 weeks and, 4 days.
Okay.
3 days.
That's
so
awesome.
31 days. And, some people could just stop cold turkey.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have something messed up in my brain, which I'm totally okay with because that's just, God gave it to me. He didn't give it to me to kill myself over it.
Right.
He gave it to me to work on it.
Right.
Right. And I'm fortunate enough that I've had the support so far. But for those that are struggling with alcohol or any kind of, whether it be drugs or anything like that, I remember somebody telling me, acknowledging it was kind of be that first, like, major step.
It's the hardest step.
Right. And week 1 was a little bit difficult. But I remember I came here and I sat with you. Was it me, you, Dave, and Chris?
Yeah.
And I basically talked about my alcoholism.
Yeah, you were standing at the door, and I think Tariq was
you were there,
too.
yeah.
And you were like, you were so open about it.
Yeah.
And it felt, we were kind of like just quiet and nodding.
Yeah.
But it took so much courage for you. And I think I remember saying
You
to
did
you
say it to me.
that I'm so proud of you to be able to get up in front of people, coworkers, friends, whatever,
Right.
and be that vulnerable, because then you've accepted the fact that you have a problem.
Sure.
And you're admitting it to people that you normally may not have admitted it to.
No.
And you're saying, I got a problem and I'm getting better.
Right.
I'm going to get better. Yeah, 100%. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
that was huge, dude.
It was like,
huge.
To me, that was kind of my turning point.
Yeah.
Where I said, it's 7 days. I have a long way to go.
Yeah.
But Jesse reminded me every time I saw him, okay, next day.
Yeah, it's one day at a time.
One day
bro.
at a time. And, I'm nowhere where I want to be yet. But I do have to say that being clear-headed, obviously, I am so much in a better place. I'm so much happier. I'm so much willing to acknowledge my mistakes. I was just in DC with some industry people, and I got to see somebody that I do respect and I care about. And I had to acknowledge something that I did while I was intoxicated to another person I cared about. And it was
making amends.
Making amends. And I realized that, like, that was my first time going out and being around people with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And I just realized that, like, I just don't need it.
Yeah.
Like, I obviously need to get more comfortable. Like, I'm not going to say that I'm going to go sit at a bar and hang out, because I won't do that. I'm not ready for that.
Right.
Though
you
I
don't
did
need to. We don't need to.
No.
Yeah.
And, like, I kind of did it when I was in DC. I had a meal sitting at the bar.
Okay.
And, like, Patron was sitting right in front of me. And, like, there was a moment where I was like, wow, that sounds good. But no, I'm going to get sick because I have the medication. And so as now I'm almost done the medication, I feel like, okay, well, I don't use that excuse, I'm on the medication anymore. Like, I'm just like, man, I don't want it.
Good. That's awesome.
I think that if you could take anything out of this, like anybody out there, it's not easy. It's fucking not easy. I don't care what anybody says. It's fucking hard. But what you do realize is that it's harder to cover up your pain than to just deal with it.
I agree. It's harder to keep track.
Yeah.
It's harder to keep your life in focus.
For sure.
And when you're out of your mind drunk or whatever, high, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
If you don't remember what the hell you said to somebody or did, holy shit.
Yeah.
Right? Especially as a business owner.
100%.
A husband. Those things, if you're cloudy, bro. Like, you don't remember. And everybody that I know that have struggled with this, I mean, honestly, and this is no comment toward you or anything.
Yeah.
You're the first real person that I know that I firsthand witnessed this.
Yeah.
Now, as a cop, we showed up and dealt with it.
Yeah, because we didn't also have a connection with them.
No connection.
Zero.
Let's get you to the hospital. Bye.
Right.
You're in an ambulance. See you later.
Yep.
Hope the best.
Yep.
You... Like, I went home several times, and Tariq and I have talked about this many times, of how much personally our pain for you.
Yeah.
Like, we have a lot of pain for you. It's much better now, obviously.
Of course.
To watch you be this way was so hard for us, and nothing we could do.
Yeah.
Even when I showed up at your house with Rodrigo and Tariq showing up to pick you up, there's nothing we could do to snap you out of that, right? And when we went to the hospital that night and we were sitting in the ER and you guys, you were there. You were Mr. Antsy Pants as usual.
Yeah.
But, like, we're in the hospital because you're drinking too much.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
There we are.
There we are.
There we are.
Yeah.
And we all just sit here and I wish we had a magic wand that we could say, boom, you're healed.
Yep.
Boom, this isn't going to be a thing for you anymore, because it's really hard to watch you go through this. And it was really, really, really hard to leave you at your house when you were in a situation where you were so drunk that you didn't even move.
Right.
Like, we were tickling you, we were lifting your arms, and I'd get the old, and that was it.
Yeah.
And it broke our hearts because we couldn't get you up. We couldn't splash water on your face. and make it better. And that's just us dealing with it. That's no guilt on you, but
I've already dealt through that guilt. Like,
Yeah.
that, I mean, I think that's another thing that's part of this process.
Yeah.
Is like making amends with the guilt that I feel for things that I had done.
Yeah.
Like, but also making amends, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big part of it.
But I do know what it took for you guys to not give up on me.
No, absolutely
and what you guys all did to get me to where I am today, right? Like, that's why I constantly say to you guys, I mean, the reason I am here today feeling so good is because I had that support. And not everybody has the support I have.
But we're so glad
Yeah, I appreciate that.
that you're back.
Yeah.
Like, I've said it to you before, even when you were in the middle of dealing with it, I'm like, there was that one day in the gym where you came in and we were working out in the morning and you were like, let's do this. Jeff, do we get this? Boom, boom. I'm like, and I looked at Jesse, I go, Dave's back.
Yeah.
And then you were gone again for a minute.
Yeah.
And then you came back now, and 31, 32, 33 days later,
Yeah.
dude, you're firing on all cylinders again.
Oh yeah.
And,
I mean, it's 100%. I can even tell you just for, I'm not a very sympathetic person in general. It's just not my nature. But I think being sober has allowed me to be more open to understanding.
Yeah.
And understanding other people's plights and like things that they've gone through.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm definitely no Mr. Perfect husband. Like, I'm far from it. But I will give credit where credit is due, is Meredith. And she said something to me. Actually, in our hypnotherapy, she made me, when I went under, she made me, how do I say it? Like, go in, like, look through Jenny's lenses.
Okay.
And her past, her present, everything, for a moment, to get that sympathetic, empathetic moment to say, fuck, now I understand.
That's powerful as hell, dude.
And like, there was in this conversation, she made me cry.
Yeah.
Meredith made me cry to a point where I literally had to wipe my shirt off.
Yeah.
My eyes off. And it made me realize that, like, if everybody just takes a fucking moment and puts themselves in somebody else's shoes, we could be so much better off.
Yeah.
And I mean, granted, she's my wife, and I have way more things I could do to better that part. But like, it's profound when you take a moment and look at your partner and say, you know, what do they see?
Yeah.
What have they been through?
Right.
Right. And, you know, today I can sit here and say 31 days, I'm fucking happy. I feel good.
Right.
I'm blessed to have everybody around me that supports me. But I would do myself injustice if I didn't apologize.
For sure.
And so to end this,
sorry,
it's okay. I want to apologize to first Tariq, because Tariq had experienced me kind of in a bad place and like firsthand, and it was not his job. But he just showed me, and I thank you for being there and supporting not just me, but Jenny, when I was not in my right place. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Obviously, Jeff and Rodrigo, you guys know how much I love you guys. Rodrigo's not here. He's probably washing our car or something. I don't make him wash cars all the time, just every once in a while.
That's his therapy, though.
That's his therapy. So I thank them. Obviously, I thank your family, Jenny's family, Mike, who's down there, everybody. But I also have to say sorry to people that the decision to talk to people in a certain way was not representative of who I am. I'm not blaming alcohol.
It was a big part of it.
It was a factor.
Yes.
It's not the reason I made the decision to react. That's first Tammy. You guys don't know her. She's part of the industry. I kind of snapped a couple times at her. Could have been better. And the last one to me that I think hurts the most in the world of business was Zena. She's out of Toronto. She's always been, and I hope will come back around to be a really good support for not just me, but the company and everything that I've done. She's just a good friend, good heart. She comes from a great family, comes from a great company. And unfortunately, things in our industry happened. I reacted a certain way, and it was not anybody's fault but mine, and I apologize. So I'm sorry, Zena, if you see this. But everybody else or anybody else that I had overstepped, talked down to, treated wrongly, I'm sorry. I can't change what I did. I don't want to change what I did, solely because it's now becoming who I am today. And I think that we can be sorry for things, but we can't change them. But we have to learn from them.
And I think the huge thing that's striking me as you're doing this is your friends, your family, the people around you. When someone is sick, mentally, alcoholism, drug addiction, they say and do things that are not necessarily them.
Right.
And part of the healing process, the admission of it, the making amends is a big part of the steps of recovery.
100%.
We've all been there, and I remember times that I snapped at my family and friends, and when I got myself under control, I said, I'm sorry. It wasn't me.
Right.
And at the time, they're pissed off and they hate us.
Sure.
And they're going to react in a manner that we don't want them to react. And we don't understand, why are they so mad at me? I didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
But when we get well and we get right and we look back and we say, oh my God, what was I thinking? They'll understand that, hey, he was sick. And you were.
Yeah.
And you still are. And
I'm
so
still
am
out.
I.
Yeah, 100%.
We're never going to kick these demons, right?
No. There's no way.
What we will do is overcome the daily stuff that we face.
Yeah.
And I came into Tariq this morning and I said, I don't know what it is, but the noise is getting me today.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Right.
We're getting through our days.
Yep.
We find a way to manage. We make those amends. That is so important.
I agree.
And it's not that you're going to, maybe they won't forgive you.
No.
But they'll understand that what you're doing is, I've opened my soul now. It was not Dave who you know for all these years.
Yeah.
And I am sorry, truly sorry. And I'll be better going forward.
Yeah.
And that's so huge to get over that hill of recovery is, okay, I'm not doing what made me crazy or whatever.
Made me stupid.
I'm not saying those things because I'm not doing that shit anymore.
Right.
Now I need to look at the people that I love and care for, whether it's coworkers or otherwise,
Yep.
and say, wasn't me. And I'm heartfelt sorrow
Right.
of doing that. And now you say, all right, tomorrow's going to be a better day.
100%.
I'm purging, right?
Yeah.
If you look at it that way.
100%.
That's where you are. Like we've seen it.
Yeah.
Like Tariq said it, I think you said it day before yesterday, Dave's back. And that was all he said to me. I think he said, Dave's back.
Yeah. I mean, I just,
It's good, dude. Like,
it feels good.
when you weren't yourself, it's hard for us. I mean, we were keeping things down for you and locking it down and making sure things were good. But like, we were worried about you. Like, that was
Sure.
the preeminent thought was, shit, where's Dave? How is he?
Right.
Anybody heard from him?
Yeah.
You know, and
Going to MIA was the worst part of what I did.
it scared us, man.
Yeah, because I was very much not, the only person really I talked to was Rodrigo.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Rodrigo was forcibly pushing
And he
him.
kept us in the loop.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that at the end of the day, we have to learn from our mistakes.
Hell yeah.
I do believe that some people could have one drink and be okay.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not there yet. And I don't know if I'll ever be there.
You don't
And
need to be.
I don't need to be there. I'm totally fine. I find that I can do everything the same. My social, I have to get a little looser, but that's okay. But again, then there's going to be the positive side of it that I won't react to people that don't deserve it.
Yeah.
And maybe they deserved a different version of what I did,
Yeah.
which would have been way better. But again, I go back to Xena because, that is one person that should have never been brought into the mix. And again, for everybody else that I, crossed, I'm sorry. All I can do is learn, grow from it. It's a funny thing in our industry. This is Dave 3.0 now. And probably going to be 4.0. There's going to be a 5.0, but I'm okay with that because that's part of living and learning.
Yeah.
But I hope that
And growing.
and growing. And I think one of the things that I want to leave the end of this is that if you're struggling with any kind of alcohol, drugs, when you're ready, find that one person or two people that understand what you're going through and get the help.
Yeah.
Because when you do get the help, you're going to look back and you're going to say, shit, I wish I'd done it earlier.
Yeah.
And in the first couple weeks when I started to feel really good, I was like, man, I wish I had done this earlier. You can't change that. So you have to let that go and say, I'm doing it now and I'm feeling good. You know, there are a lot of resources out there.
Yes, there is.
And, you know, I bring it up, but there are suicide prevention phone numbers. I mean, if you're feeling a certain way, please, it's already bad enough that we have things happen to people that don't deserve it, not by their choice. Please seek help.
Yeah.
Seek help.
Tons of help out
There's
there.
tons of help. And if you need help, I know Jeff and I will freely say that we are a Instagram post away, DM. You could search and you'll find my cell phone number somewhere online. Reach out. I would love to be able to support you guys. On the last is Urban Pause. A lot of changes there.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that on the next podcast.
Urban Pause. Urban Worldwide.
Urban CQ.
Urban CQ. the
Urban
Zoo,
Hawaii.
Urban Hawaii. Royalty.
Yeah, we've got a lot to catch up, everybody, and we're going to be doing this. We're back on it. So I hope you enjoy this episode.
Proud of you, dude.
Thanks, dude.
Proud of you,
Thank you.
man.
Thanks.
Love you. Proud of you.
I love you.
You keep that freaking one foot in front of the other day
That's
by
all I
day,
can do.
dude. Proud of you, bro.
So you're going to hear this tomorrow. Today is Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. I'm going to make Tariq go home and upload this shit.
You didn't know that, did you, Tariq?
Yeah, he's going to. He's going to have this done. But you'll get a podcast every Friday moving forward with Jeff and I. And we're going to do some remodeling here.
Yeah, and send us
Topics.
Send us topics and feedback.
Yeah, and if there's somebody you guys want to see on here, I mean, listen, I wish I could get Joe Rogan on here and talk about his conspiracy theories. But I would love to, if there's somebody local here in the Bay Area or even non-local, I don't mind doing Zooms. If there's somebody that you want to hear from, give us ideas, man.
Yeah, we can do it.
Give us topics.
Yeah.
We're open to anything. And if we don't know it, we're going to find somebody who's an expert and BS our way through it because that's what happens when you have a scattered brain. So that's Dave. That's me. So, all right, guys. Jeff, I love you.
Bro.
Thank
Love
you
you
for
too,
everything.
brother.
See you next week.
Hell yeah.
Peace
Let's
out, guys.
go.
See ya.